MPs have criticised the government's performance on delivering Brexit, saying the only detectable impact so far has been an extra burden on businesses in terms of increased costs, paperwork and border delays. The Cross-Party Public Accounts Committee says a lot more work needs to be done to prevent further disruption. The government says it is ensuring that businesses get the help they need to trade with Europe and elsewhere. Here's our global trade correspondent, Chris Morris.
Our cows graze freely on pastures rich in nutrients.
In the fields of Devon, it all looks beautifully serene. This British cheesemaker used to export without any bureaucracy or delays to other countries in Europe. But outside the EU, things have become far more difficult.
Every shipment now needs a vet certificate. The vet costs money. Our shipments tend to be quite small, less than a pallet. And so that's quite a cost. There are the paperwork takes a lot of time. The person who's doing the paperwork has got 15 other things to do.
And that's why the focus on Britain's borders continues. The Public Accounts Committee says trade volumes have fallen partly because of the impact of COVID. But the exit from the EU has clearly had an impact, and new border arrangements have added costs to business. Smaller firms with fewer resources have been hit the hardest.
Between the delays at the border, the extra costs and all the extra paperwork, a lot of businesses are saying that it's been a real struggle for them. So we've said to the government repeatedly before Brexit and again in this report, you need to step up and support the smaller businesses. They've concentrated on the volume businesses, the bigger ones that are doing the most trade with Europe. But that's no consolation for those many people whose livelihoods and sometimes jobs of other people depend on their being able to do this trade with Europe.
The committee notes that a Brexit support fund worth £20 million was initially created to help small businesses, but only £6.7 million was ever paid out because it was so hard to access the money. And the government says it's continuing to help businesses trade with Europe, including free advice from its export support service. But the committee wants more transparency and more focus on the practical problems firms are facing. Outside Dover, long queues of lorries have become the norm, part of a plan to make sure the town itself doesn't clog up. But the committee warns that it could get worse. It says there's potential for further disruption as more people start travelling again and passenger volumes at key ports like Dover return to normal. There's also concern about extra delays later this year when the EU introduces new passport controls and the UK starts physical checks on the import of food products. The government is taking a longer view. It talks enthusiastically about new trade deals elsewhere in the world and says it plans to create the most effective border in the world by 2025. The committee calls that a noteworthy ambition, but optimistic, given where things stand today. Chris Morris, BBC News.